It's great to have you join us on today's edition of 60 Minutes Nigeria, where we take you around the clock and talk about the polity in Nigeria and how to deepen all that has to do with governance in order to have a very democratic rule, and of course looking at the need for the dividends of good governance. Well, some would say let's zero it into the dividends of good governance and not democracy. Well, we're going to be looking at the tenets of democracy because we're looking at the electoral process ahead 2023 and the need to deepen the electoral process. And discussing this with me, starting from my left, extreme left, I have the immediate past interim chairman of Edo Civil Society Organizations, and he is Dr. Osadolo Oche, Bishop Dr. Oche Osadolo. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, listeners and viewers at home. God bless you.
And next to him is the custodian of the law. By that I mean a legal practitioner, and he is Matthias Obayiwada. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, listeners, viewers at home.
And next to him is a political economist, and he is Ibrahim Momo. Good to have you join us.
Thanks for having me. Good afternoon, Nigeria.
Well, like I did say, a lot we discuss about in respect of deepening the electoral process, and I'm Philip Omo-Gyupo. We're looking at the need to do this, and just recently we heard reports, though controversial reports as it may be. First, we heard about the extension of the voter registration, continuous voter registration, and INEC again reported that they didn't make that announcement of extending it. And again, the National Assembly also said that they didn't announce this also on the floor. But INEC did say that they were going to stick with the law, with the court order saying that it should continue. Now, what do you make of this seemingly controversy surrounding the extension of the CVRO? Bishop Oche.
This is to attest to the fact that we are in a lawless country. A country that does not respect their own law, where everybody is an institution of law. And the scriptures say, if you need peace, obey law. And if we decide as a nation and as a people in this country to consistently disobey Nigerian law that we gave to ourselves, extant law that the National Assembly made or state, then we are the culprit. Now, for them to deny that they will not extend or they will extend the registration is a mark that both the lawmakers and the interpreter of the law are in Nigeria lawbreakers. That's where we have found ourselves. Otherwise, they ought to have been coordinated and be working together. INEC is an institution established by law. The National Assembly is an institution established by law. The judiciary is an institution established by law. The executive is an institution established by law. And each of these persons are interdependent and they are supposed to work together. Now, the court have said that INEC should not foreclose registration. They should not. Because every day we sleep and wake up, somebody is turning 18. Every day. Not a year, not a month. Every day we sleep and wake up. Thousands of people are turning 18. And by that extension, they need to have their permanent voters card. So if you now foreclose it that you will do it because of election every 4 years, you will remember there is need for revalidation, there is need for new registration. You are always creating crowd like you see at various registration centers today. So we should do it that we can do this registration at the comfort of our home. And that is what is obtainable in every advanced society. We should not be thinking that we cannot improve. That's another demonic thing, that we have not gotten there. Who have told you we have not gotten there? The first aeroplane that brought Queen Elizabeth to Benin If they tell me now that they will fly me with that airplane, I will tell them over my dead body. Are you hearing me? So we are always improving, but we should do more and copy what is good from other nations to improve on our administration in Nigeria.
Okay. Okay, let's get this cleared. We understand that the CBRO is on, and the court order from the Federal High Court in Abuja, we understand that. Then the aspect of the National Assembly, they also said that they didn't announce that on the floor of the House, but I believe they are looking at the aspect of what was reported as being extended by 60 days. But what do you see as the implication of what the court gave, where it said that they should not stop the registration until all eligible voters are registered by the timeline? What do you think could be the implication?
Well, for me, it's an affront to the rule of law. The court has made an order. Whether INEC likes the order or not, they are supposed to obey. If they do not like the order, they are appealing against the decision to a higher court until the higher court upholds that decision. INEC should be seen to obey. We are living in a society where people don't regard orders from the law court. If it were an order from an ex parte order from the tribunal that they already used to remove Honorable Justice Honor Pharmacy Jane from seat, they will know how to honor. So they choose the orders that they want to obey, and they choose the one they don't want to obey. Meanwhile, you don't have the prerogative to decide which one to obey and which not to obey. Now, continuous voter registration is not a thing that should have been given a benchmark. I know that yes, we try to balance it for INEC. They may say, okay, fine, they may have to print out the list of voters and ensure that they are properly situated in the various units that they're supposed to be to make easy for election on election day. You see how some time. And so you are technocrats, within who can make this happen. If you're having challenges in that respect, you come out to say these are logistic issues.
But wouldn't it be clumsy if the registration is endless, seemingly?
Well, of course, at a point, there must be, you cannot expect that maybe election is tomorrow, and then a voter is being registered today. You would not expect such a situation. Of course, there will be some measure of time, but the time is still far. Okay. Election is next year. Election is next year. So you cannot equate voter registration to primaries for political parties, submission of a candidate list, which have been codified to say, okay, fine, this one's, there's a timeline to submit the list. And not that if you fail that timeline, that means you don't have a candidate for a political party. This is not the case. The reason why you are conducting this election is because the electorate. In a democracy, when we engage ourselves in the social contract theory to say that we are donating our power to elected few to rule over us in order to avoid the state of nature, where man obeys, enforces his own right by his own self, do not take that right away from the people. The right to decide who will represent us. So you still have a fairly long time. Now, I don't want to be seen to believe that INEC is acting out a script that some forces are waiting for it. Because from the way you see it, even those who are even struggling to register now within the so-called timeline, say deadline is the end of this month, there are no machines. There are no machines. Those who want to give them collect their cards, the map power, I don't know what is happening to them. They are not giving them any materials. So because now, initially they will say, oh, voter apathy. People are not ready to come and vote. Please come and vote. If you refuse to vote, it will not be good. All that. You are preaching those messages. Now Nigerians have seen for themselves that there is no need preaching any message to us. We are preaching the message to ourselves that look, we must take back Nigeria. The way they are messed up this country, both the young and the old, they are determined to say right now we want to decide who will lead us. You cannot force any leader on us. Now they have all come out in large number to say, I want to register, I want to get my card. And if you have a source of mad power, you are running up and play hanky-panky. Because, okay, fine, I can see the need. And stay for 2 months. 2 months will not kill you. You say, no, you will not do so. My deadline is my deadline. And yet, no materials. So, I'm afraid, I hope the revolution, because the revolution which I believe is coming is a democratic revolution. Through the ballot box. People are going to pick their voters' card to go and vote. That's a revolution. We are putting our weight behind the person that we believe can rescue Nigeria from this mess. If you deny us, because those that make people change is possible, you will end up making violent change inevitable. If you deny them and they will not make sure they cannot vote, My brother, what will become of INEC and the institution of governance in this country will be something to
Okay, well, so we just hope it doesn't get there.
Yeah, we hope so. So we expect that INEC should cooperate at this stage and ensure that you provide materials for them, for people, to register people, and then to allow the people collect their card. I understand in the north, I don't know how true it is, that they go to their homes to go and give them their cards. In the south, people go and queue. You will not provide materials. I will not want Nigeria. So people are ready now to decide who will lead them. INEC must not be a stumbling block. If they refuse to cooperate, what will be before they will not imagine it?
Well, we don't need to say all of that, because I think we have a system, and the system is what we hope will work. And he made mention, as is being reported though, but he reiterated what was reported concerning machines failing. And on one hand, there's a deadline. And on another, the machines that are to work supposedly for the fixed deadline seem not to be working out politically, as a political scientist or economist. What do you make of this? Does it make sense?
Well, I think the first thing is to also enjoin our people to eschew and stop propagating falsehood, or what we can call fake news.
Okay.
I've heard 2 fake news here already on this program. And with all due respect, we have a responsibility to give the correct information to people. Now, in every electoral process, there are different stakeholders. The electoral umpire, in this context, INEC. There are political parties, there are politicians, and then there are, of course, the electorate, the people who vote. Now, of all these group of stakeholders, the critical stakeholder is the electorate. If they don't come out to vote, there are no elections. And so whatever INEC or other election monitoring bodies or election implementation body or other stakeholders in the electoral process are doing, they must ensure the sanctity, the protection of the right of the electorate to exercise their franchise. So whatever INEC is doing in terms of deadline, in terms of materials or equipment being available to conveniently register voters, we ought to also ensure that the critical stakeholder, the electorates, right to vote is not infringed upon.
Okay, but by the fact that we have machines that are not working,
because I'm waiting for him to
isn't that a way? Isn't that a way? He's going there
to go there.
He's going there. What is fake. But isn't that a way of planning to fail? Because on one hand, you made mention of a deadline. Yeah. On the other hand, we have queues of persons that are yet to register. Now, is it not an act to fail or to disenfranchise if your machines at the end of the day don't work, and then you close it on the eligible voters? No, does it make sense?
I think that we also have to get the facts right. In Ward 10 in Lagos, for example, where I vote. Okay. And currently, what people may not know is that INEC is going from ward to ward with machines. As a result of that, some of those machines are, I don't speak for INEC.
INEC is going ward to ward.
In my ward now, for example, in Ward 10,
okay, in
the local government, at the collation center at Adolo College, INEC is there registering voters now. Because it's part of the, because these are not new information. I think where I hold INEC responsible, with all due respect, is the fact that they have a voter education department headed by Fete Okoye, but there's no voter education going on. That's one I think I hold. I think if you are doing it, in marketing, we say that when you wink at a lady in the dark, you know what you are doing, nobody else knows. So you need to, if you are doing something, let people know what you are doing. A lot of people in Ward 10, for example, will be at the INEC office at around the Secretariat now, whereas they ought to be at Adolo for those who could not go early. And then the other issue is our penchant for last-minute rush. Personally, I have mobilized not less than, if I want to be conservative, about 70 persons to go and register between June last year and now. And a lot of them are getting their voters card already. Between last year and now, they are getting their voters card. Those who are even January, February this year, they are getting their voters card. I'm talking with facts. I can call names on air. People I have mobilized to go and vote who have registered. But the penchant, one thing I see with Nigeria, and something we need to learn to overcome, is this 11th hour, 59th minute mentality. if something is not getting laid. I saw it, we all saw it with BVN. We all saw it again with the NIM team. It was when there was not a deadline, they will block your line, not so mass. And when I did my name, again around the city market, I sat down comfortably in the NIMC center. Very comfortable that time. There was no rush. I don't know why for Nigerians for sometimes, it may not be all Nigerians, because I am not one of those kind of people. But a lot of Nigerians have this penchant for last minute rush. We should learn to avoid it. It does not even help anybody.
But don't forget, it depends on the center you visited, Sha.
Yes.
So for the very fact that the center you visited, there was no rush, doesn't mean that in all other centers they were still rushing. So I think I will swing back that question to you, because what you are saying is raising a lot of questions. And I know the lawyer here is not satisfied because you made some remarks.
Yeah, that way is
you made some remarks about the fake news.
You couldn't show to the audience now.
So on this, you still have the
fake news.
I want to put it
clear the fake news, please. Clear the fake news.
The barrister said,
yes.
I think everybody heard it.
Yes.
He said that they are giving PVCs at their homes in the north. And the north is 96 now.
I see. I do
but he said
I do not know if what you are saying is correct.
Yes, he said
that is what I told you.
He added that.
I do not know if what you are saying is correct.
And that's the point.
If what you are saying is correct, why can't you? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It is there in the public domain.
He has confirmed now that it's fake news.
Okay.
Is there? I didn't tell you that. Don't tell you that.
To him, it's a rumor.
Yes, this is yes.
And we are saying that we need decorum here. To him, it's a rumor. And
you conclusively says it is fake. Okay. Have you investigated to find it was fake?
For us to move ahead, I think we have. I think time doesn't stand still.
How we use language.
Please.
We are on air. There is no fake.
Bishop
Osadolo told you what he had, but he has not.
Thank you.
Have you confirmed that is not true? Have you confirmed? Are you
Thank you, Bayiwana.
Did you confirm?
Did I tell you that I have the evidence to prove it? If the news making the round is correct, that is wrong. Well, that is the position.
Hold, please.
Unless you are INEC spokesperson, come out straight and say.
Watching this
you can't be
60 Minutes Nigeria. And you know, when it has to do with discussing Nigeria issues, basically feelings will fly. And we have political economists here, we have the custodian of the law here, we have human rights activists here. Why won't feelings fly? So permit me to say whatever you noticed just now is as a result of how they feel the pulse of the country Nigeria. But moving ahead, let's look at this aspect of the deadline, you know, that was fixed earlier for 30th June. And the way to forge ahead for INEC, you know, in terms of getting the required materials or equipment, you know, to really get the job done. What do you think is a constraint really facing INEC, and how can this be surmounted?
First, anybody that is committed to a project must have all that it takes to accomplish it.
Correct.
INEC cannot come here and sabotage this exercise. Whether we are calling it rumors or not, we are forced to believe that there is underground registration of certain persons. We are forced. Because otherwise, you cannot deploy one machine for a ward. One machine for a ward. One person to capture. A ward can be about 50 villages. And you expect all the people from different villages to come there to come and register. And you want to do a nice job, honest job, committed job. That is deceit now. So if INEC want to do a proper job, they should go back to the units where the registrations were done and where people go and vote. Then you get the people to come out there. There will not be this much rushing. Are you hearing? So because they are hell-bent on ensuring that there is lapses and failure.
No, you can't say that.
Okay.
You can't say that. I know you enjoy your opinion.
That's my opinion.
But in as much as you enjoy your opinion, don't forget that we also have a custodian of the law here.
Yes.
I think it's going to establish
yes.
that. In as much as you have freedom of speech, doesn't mean you speak at a point where you affect another man's right. So based on that, please, I will want you to be civil in your presentation, knowing that they are your opinions.
The issue is this.
Yes.
Why is it that the day of election, they will tell us to go to our registration unit?
To go and vote.
To go and vote.
You cannot now use the same
We
unit
cannot use
to
the
register
same.
and
We
collect your
cannot
card.
mobilize all of us to one center in the world. Why? If there is no gameplay.
But I think all of this will now be
So if
perfected.
they want the right,
all of this will now be, I think we don't need to dwell much on the
just
challenges.
wait a moment. Just wait a moment. This thing will not take us 3 weeks to capture every Nigerian if they agree to deploy the machines to every unit. In 3 days, they will capture everybody in Nigeria.
Okay.
But as long as they don't want to do that,
So you're talking about deployment of more machines.
more
Exactly,
machine.
more machines.
As long as they are not good, because who is that person that will travel about 3, 10, 20 kilometers to go and register in the village? And some villages are not accessible. You want them to trek or you want them to do what? So they know what they are doing.
Okay. Well, your opinion, just to let us know, the opinions made on this platform are not the opinions of independent
It's my
television,
personal
or the
opinion.
opinions of the makers. But let's look, take a quick look at what happened in Ekiti, where we have the APC, clinching the position, clinching that ticket, and looking at what transpired, looking at the feelings, because in every election or any game, there must be a winner and a loser. But the U.S. has really spoken well of the election, saying that it was fair.
Yes.
And also we have this monitoring group called Yaga Africa that also spoke well of the election. Is your opinion about this as what the U.S. and other monitoring groups said? Do you concur with us?
Well, I wasn't present at the elections. Again, from the news making the round, and especially as reported, it's whereby people were engaging in vote buying.
Okay. I'll come back to you after we just take a very short break, and after this break, we're extending frontiers of this discussion. Do stay. We had a break. We were opportune to see that the certificate of return given to the APC winner of the election in Ekiti, Oyebanjo, and looking at the need to really strengthen democracy in this process. There seems to be ripples effect of all of this. Why some are saying that the election didn't go well the way it should, but in every election there must be a winner and losers. Some are also saying, well, it went well, like the reports from the Yaga Africa monitoring group and, of course, the U.S. So what do you make of this? Do you concur with what?
No, I will not concur. You cannot tell me that election where vote buying was the hallmark of the day, was the main central focus. People are expected to go elect a candidate willingly. They're not supposed to entice them with money, having impoverished them with the economic condition in the country. You now use money to entice them to go and sell their conscience. Election venue is not where you carry money to. That is it's against the Electoral as an offense, criminal offense, where you engage yourself in vote buying, trading vote for money. That was what played out in Ekiti.
But it was peaceful.
Well, it may have been peaceful.
Basically, that could be why the U.S. government and the other monitoring group
to say that it was fair, but it was not fair indeed. It was the piece that you saw there was the mosquito piece. Yeah, that was the mosquito piece, the graveyard piece. There was no peace actually. That is why at the end of the day, when people complain about, why they engage themselves in vote buying, people like Festus Keyamo, SN, a man I respected so much before he entered government, came out to justify what happened, to say, well, the party complaining should not complain. After all of them engage in that.
Oh.
Can a wrong make a right? Can two wrongs make a right? Okay. Can you justify that? Rather than him wrongly condemning what happened there. Both are done by his party and are done by other candidates who were contesting that election, who were selling vote. We saw young girls, coming on the internet showing their 5,000 naira that used to buy votes, to sell their vote. So in such situation, can you not really tell that everything went well? So if by their reporters, because it was peaceful, there was no violence, there was no ballot snatching, but however they were selling and buying votes, which is against the law, That's a lawless election. It didn't go well, to my opinion.
Well, like what he said
really
which was reported now, the political parties in question has been reported, saying that they all participated in it. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that one of the challenges we have faced in our continued electoral process, the current electoral dispensation, is the malaise, the criminal conduct of vote buying. I am one of those who condemn massively, roundly, that kind of act, because what it does is that it taints even the victory of the victor, and yes. It tends to have a tendency, if only one of the parties engaged in it, in swinging the votes in favor of one, if assuming in a case where one was given and the other one was not. On the basis of the fact that party A was given, it swayed voters or the victory to its side. So I think it's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. But is there no agency that is responsible for tackling this aspect of inducement of voters?
No.
Or was it that some agencies were not doing the job?
The issue is that there is a buyer, there is a seller.
And the two of them are guilty.
Yes, even the third one you're referring to now, those who should ensure that trading of votes does not occur. But even before those who are supposed to ensure or enforce non-sales of votes, is the fact that people are guilty of selling their votes. People are also guilty of buying. And I think that we need to even mainstream that issue of vote selling.
How do we cure that?
People need to understand the value of their votes or the potency of their votes. Leaders are elected by virtue of your vote, and every vote counts.
Yeah, that is being said repeatedly. But you know, it's not so easy, you know, to sink it down to the minds of the voters.
I want to make a point to the vote seller, those who are
not to sell their votes.
Yes.
It's not so easy. So there should be an agency to enforce it.
We need to even realize the value, because if you don't know your value, you compromise your value. You need to know the value of your votes. In Nigeria, the minimum wage in Nigeria is 30,000 naira. And the man who is going for elected position is going for a 4-year, 48 term, 48 months period. Now, if you count the value of your vote, this is what is going to give you. I am an advocate, somebody who advocates against the sales or buying of votes. Now, if you are assuming you are one who wants to encourage vote buying, your vote is worth 1,440,000. That's my own research. Ibrahim almost saying
1,400,000.
1,440,000 naira. And how do I come about that figure? Check the minimum wage in Nigeria. That's the minimum, 30,000 naira. Times that by 48 months, the man is going for.
Oh, yes.
You're going to get one. That is the minimum value of your vote. Now, if somebody is supposed to give you, as you want to sell your
vote. So what you are giving is a far cry from what it should be. So are you not saying that? Are you not saying that?
Don't sell your vote.
What you said, just say that collect this money.
Okay, yeah, because that's the flip side to what he said.
God forbid.
The flip side to what he said is, if at all you want to sell, collect that appropriate amount.
Nobody will give you that amount.
Nobody will.
Nobody. They are there to cheat you.
It's terrible.
He's giving you 2,000.
You can't continue like this.
5,000 or 10,000 for a vote that is worth at the very minimum 1,400,000. That is cheating. So why are you cheating yourself? And those who sell their votes and complain the following day, they are not victims. They are accomplices.
We heard what transpired, you know, as reported in the party primaries, you know, for the presidential primaries, you know, and at the point where the EFCC officials went to the venue, you know, for where it was taking place.
And
they couldn't get anybody doing that. You know, because it happened because according to reports, it happened in their hotel rooms the previous day.
Yeah.
Now, I was expecting that, okay, having witnessed a particular party, you know, in that, then the next one you want to do, you'll be proactive this time. Then maybe you now have to go maybe a few days too, and then check. Now, nothing was done in this case. Don't you think an agency is being left doing nothing?
In the Ekiti case, the vote buying and trading was done in the open.
Okay.
Because the security officers also have condoned that area where voting is taking place.
Okay,
and then you check everybody to ensure that they don't have money with them.
Okay, the question will come back to you, but Osadoloche, you have the floor on that. How do we cure this craze?
Look the other
you know, of money, of inducement of voters. How do we cure it in our democracy?
It has no cure.
Seriously.
no cure.
He's responded.
You understand? As long
Okay, how
as,
do we manage it if it has no cure?
as long as people who are inducing them have succeeded in impoverishing them, there is no cure to it. A hungry man is an angry man. It's like a man who fell into a well. In an attempt to come at whatever such person meet or his hand touch, he believes that thing can take him to safety. Are you hearing? Now, there are a lot of persons shouting today, change, revolution, this, that. Very good, very sound, very encouraging. But the issue is, on the day of election, 2 posts to the election, somebody is going to talk to them. They are going to receive dollar now, not naira.
Bullion van is involved.
Billion van is involved because naira, you cannot carry. How many billion van will you carry to be able to distribute to naira? So the dollar is more simple to carry. Then you hear that your mate who went to vote was given $100 or $10. And you don't have gari in the house, no soup. Your children are crying. And somebody is ready to give you $100. You have no choice. Are you hearing me? Not that the people are willing, but the people perpetrating it have succeeded in impoverishing them to the extent that they no longer have conscience and no choice.
No, you can't say that. Don't you think?
I can say that.
Look,
I know what
look at the challenge
no,
here.
I know,
In as much as stealing is criminalized.
Exactly.
Because if you tell someone who is
that because of
hungry,
condition,
if
I
you
would
tell
go and
someone who is
steal.
hungry
You will
to
not
go
steal.
and attack the bank,
Oga.
and he knows that he or she can't do that,
Oga,
he prefers or she prefers to die
Oga, this
being
is-
hungry.
this is
So
a-
if you are saying
this
that,
is
if you are saying that,
executive-
are you excusing the law enforcement agents from doing their job?
Exactly.
Because
This
it
is-
seems an
this-
agency is not doing its job.
this
That's
is
not their
executive stealing. Because those who are perpetrating it are owners of Nigeria.
In
There
quotes,
are
in
owners of Nigeria in quote.
They don't own it.
You understand?
People own Nigeria.
We assume we are all Nigerian, but when it comes to practice, there are owners of Nigeria.
What's the role of the civil society organizations in tackling this? Because I know you have a role.
Now,
you have a role
today,
as a civil society activist.
Today, there are a lot of subtracting of the civil society in election monitoring. They depend on people who will give them the report you have had from US and other agencies that it was peaceful, fair. Are you hearing me? Because by the time we have a form to fill, you have a limitation in what you report as a civil society practitioner. And they are not duty bound to accept your report. That is one thing you should know. INEC is not duty bound to accept your report or to rely on your report in any litigation. So if your report has a limitation, then you have failed from beginning. You're only just there for busybody, the way I will I call it. So the security agencies, in Ekiti, some ESCC staff arrested some person. You saw it on television. But I want to tell you that nobody will be prosecuted. Nobody will be charged to court.
In spite of the evidence?
Yes, in spite of the evidence. Because there are some persons who own Nigeria.
Okay, I think where you are viewing it from could be the reason why you are speaking in this fashion.
Yeah,
From your perspective.
From my perspective is that you may
Yes.
not believe it because
you cannot tell if it's not being prosecuted.
No.
can't tell.
I've monitored so many elections now.
Okay.
I've monitored so many
many
elections.
convictions are
I've
missing
seen electoral officers
vote
being
buying?
arrested. I've seen the end result of the prosecution, the very few that were charged to court. I've never seen anybody jailed in Nigeria. I've never. Lawyer is here, except he can prove me
Lecturer
right.
in University of Green.
Okay.
You understand? Very, if there is anyone,
those
there is
who
something.
those who are
That they have been
manipulating
looking for
election
such
results.
person, they have been waiting for opportunity to apprehend such person.
So you mean that one is being motivated?
Yes.
Politically
So-
motivated?
Yes. So that is
okay.
it.
Okay, let's take your viewpoint in this.
Well, for me, is a shame that we'll continue in this way. We must change the narrative. And that is why we must all be obediently obedient. We will not give any shishi. No shishi. So because the manner in which...
So what you are saying is that it can be cured?
It can be cured. That is why you can see the interest. Before now, Nigerians don't feel that their vote counts. They believe that way they can always do it the way they will do it. So for that reason, those who are registered for PVC, they refuse to go and collect their card. Those who are turned 18, they refuse to go and register. But now they are saying that the way things are going, if they continue to keep quiet, they will suffer so much. So now they have all come out to say, look, we cannot continue like this. Somebody has won the interest and the hearts of the youth in this country. And all of us are rallying around. You can see people using their own money to say, look, like he said, some other people are propping up others. Go and register. Yeah. I see some advertisement of some artists who say, look, we will be at King Square or wherever, we're going to be having a show. And we ask INEC to come and register people. Did you come? So that while we are there singing and dancing, you'll not be getting frustrated, you're not getting bored. You can continue to get yourself registered while we are waiting for the D-Day. That's why I'm begging INEC not to spoil that day for us. Make everything possible to have everybody register. Okay. Because now, no shishi. For those who sold their vote, I can see in social media how some artists tag them. They tag them, they put their faces, and the money they took, that is a show of shame, to others. So that is enough for them. Generation yet unborn will come and see them. When they grow old, they will see their faces. That you took 5,000 naira to sell your vote. For what? For those who refuse to prosecute, because I believe that when you belong to a political party, your sins will be forgiven, even before you commit the offense. So for those who have sold their vote and they arrested them, like he said, if they are interested parties behind, they can only make a call, let him go. And our people, because by the time you go out there and you testify to say, yes, who gave you this money? You sold this vote. Yes, it was somebody say, I should go and vote for a particular political party, and they gave me this money. That party's image would have been tainted. And that party don't want their image to be dented, so they're going to make a call from behind and say, look, please let them go. Who settled you?
But are there no laws? Are there no laws in the legal system? Yes, are there no laws to punish such?
Yes, the Electoral Act is an offense under the Electoral Act where you sell or you buy vote. Security agencies ought to have be proactive enough to ensure that they comb every parameter of the voting center. Search everyone coming in to show that you're not supposed to come with money. You should also come with weapons. Come free. To come and cast your vote. So
these laws exist.
They exist. When you are casting vote, the ego eyes will be there searching everywhere, making sure that nobody will be overawed or prompted to vote against their will. Because when the ballot box area are supposed to be free, only you will go there, cast your vote, nobody will know whatever you have done, and you leave. But now, first whereby people will be close to them, trying to see it and be sure that whatever you took money from us, then you vote as you wanted. In Edo, when the Pastor was contesting second term, people brought our money to try to sway the mind of Edo people. But we said no. We had decided that we are voting Mr. Governor for the second term, whether people like it or not. People brought our money. Some people took the money and still went to go and vote their conscience. Some rejected the money and said to help with your money. That is what I think is going to happen now. For some of the youth that have refused to be obedient, who have gone haywire, people have been collecting money. They have put their name in the hall of shame.
Thank you so much.
So Nigerians are watching and they will not allow such to continue. If it happened in Ekiti, I bet you it will not happen elsewhere. When anybody sells vote or buys vote in any voting center, the way they will so beat them, they will not since they will not arrest you, they will not prosecute you.
Thank you very much.
There are many youth who will be waiting for you to come and buy or even sell that vote that day.
Thank you for your articulation.
It will not happen.
You said something very, very critical and sensitive. You made mention of the social media, and there is this big pain that seems to really take our breath. Now, we keep saying that votes are not counted on social media. Now, we keep seeing what is happening on the social media. Do you see the social media as a factor that will determine the 2020 reports, Ibrahim?
Well, the social media has its own advantages. One, the advantage of creating awareness. It's why it's the fastest means of information dissemination. Yes, I agree that so much fake news flying around social media, but it's also the fastest way today, to pass messages across, to distribute information to the populace. So, at the very first basic level.
But we sought population vote.
No.
That's the big question.
That's the point I want to make. At the very basic level, people have information at their fingertips on social media, but it's still a long shot. Okay. From having that information on social media and then go to the next step of being a registered voter. And then the third point level is that not just being a registered voter, coming out on election day to vote.
Yeah.
Because that's the key thing. We make all the noise. In fact, from my findings, some of my research I found out that there's an inverse relationship between the level of activism on social media and actually activism on the
But that has changed now. You can see that changing. It's changing drastically.
But we hope to see this transforming to votes.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I make to cooperate with us. Register them. Cooperate with us. If you register Nigeria, you see. You will be surprised what will happen on the voting day.
That's just a push for you to continue. Go ahead.
I think that it's not enough to just hold those views. Our people must understand. It's not because all the things we are doing now, if it does not translate to coming out to vote on election day, it's a waste. So people must realize that the key points, it's not even about social media activism, which is a good thing for information creation. It is not even about registering to vote. It's about coming out on election day and freely casting your vote. If you have the voter's card and you don't want to vote, it's a waste.
It will be a waste, of course.
It's a waste. So have your information on social media, yes. Having a voter's card, yes. But coming out to vote is a critical issue. And I like to tell people that in political science we say that it's not a crime that a lot of people get discouraged that the person they voted for did not win because they will come out to vote again. No, it's not a crime that the person you voted for did not win. It's important that the most important is you're coming out to vote.
Yeah.
It's a duty.
In some countries, an offense.
It's a duty to
Not to vote.
Yes,
not to vote.
Yes,
it's an offense. Okay, but the way things are, it isn't wrong if you criminalize that.
No, I think it will also be.
We will get there. Yeah, we will get there.
People should have the freedom of association, freedom of movement to determine what they want to do or not to do. Yes. But I think that it is in we have to understand it's in our collective best interest to come out and vote on election day, because even if your candidate does not win, the man who wins will know that if he does not behave, those who voted for his opponent and the ones who will get disappointed because of, people, for example, are disappointed in the APC, maybe they voted for APC and are disappointed, they might move across to their position and support them. So a lot of people might be disappointed in maybe PDP in a particular state. They can, because they are disappointed not vote for PDP. It can happen. Some of the people who are shouting will be today. If you go and find out, maybe some of them who voted in the last election, they didn't vote Labour.
They were not interested then.
No, I think
now they are seeing a credible person, a credible face.
Okay, so you are seeing a change.
Yes, they are seeing that change.
Okay.
Obi is contesting presidency. Nigeria is the platform that for which Nigerian youth.
The point I'm making, which you didn't listen to.
Okay, but this is not a platform to promote any candidates.
Please. Some of the people who are supporting today, those who voted, they didn't vote for Labour in the last election.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And that's a fact.
Yes, that's a fact. Okay, that's a fact.
So
it will change now.
Okay, go ahead, finish on your point.
So it means that our people must realize that the real value you can bring to the table is not making noise on social media. It's not even registering to vote. It's coming out to vote on election day. That's the only time you can make a difference.
We look at the challenge where in a world, for instance, you have like registered voters of about 1,000, and for instance. And then you see that those who came out to really vote were about 200. Yeah. Now leaving a headroom of 800 to be manipulated for the rigging process. So that again is a challenge. What do you think can be done in this light to tackle this issue?
You see, right from
as we round off in 1 minute.
People have lost confidence on the electoral empire. That if I go and vote now, my vote will not count. So there is no need to vote.
To try.
And they do not know that the vacuum created by not coming out to vote give room for rigging. Right? And this time around, people are becoming more aware and more politically conscious to come out to register. And they are very enthusiastic that on the day of election, we must vote, not only vote, we will defend our vote.
Yes.
That is very
critical. I think that's a critical one.
Yes.
How do you monitor the votes to make sure that the figure that they got in the polling units is what is transmitted?
Phillips, sir, look at the reaction of Barrister. You know that he's battle ready for this election. Right?
Fully obedient.
Look at the reaction of
The political economist, Ibrahim.
Momo.
It's also ready.
You know, is ready.
Yes.
And if you have a gift of discernment,
You didn't talk about my reaction.
no, don't worry, you're a moderator. No,
I'm neutral.
If you look at the reaction, you don't need an oracleist to tell you where these two people belong to. You don't need an oracleist. Are you hearing me? And why they are here and why they are saying what they are saying.
You seem to speak like a prophet.
You understand? Now that this is their mindset, there is something INEC is going to experience on the day of election. There is something Nigerians is going to experience that they have never seen since independence. That day, that any electoral officer misbehave, my brother,
Go
some
collect.
people will be roasted
Thank you.
alive.
Thank you,
Everybody must
Bishop
maintain.
Dr. Osadolo Oche. Well, in 1 minute, can you just run?
Yes, I want to plead with you, my people. Dear Nigerian youth, this is our time to take back Nigeria. We must rescue this nation. The democratic revolution is here. Register to vote and be there on the election day to vote. And I want to plead with INEC. Please cooperate. Bring all the machines to ensure that every stumbling block on the way is removed. Let every Nigerian youth, both elders and those who are willing to register to get and to collect their PVC, be allowed access to do so within regulation time, so that on the day of the election, we will vote to effect the change that we deserve in this country.
Thank you. Same goes to you. 1 minute, round up.
Well, quickly, I'd like to say that our people must understand that vote buying and selling is criminal. And the worst crime you are doing, it's not the statutes alone, the worst crime you are committing is against yourself. Because each time you sell your vote, you are compromising the public goods that would have come to you in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I urge us to avoid vote selling and vote buying.
Thank you for your timeless efforts, Dr. Osadolo Oche, and big thanks, the legal practitioner,
Thank you, Philip.
Matthias Sobayiwana,
Thank
and of
you.
course, our political economist, Ibrahim Momo. This is how we do it, but we promise you we'll do this again, same time next week. I'm Philip Omo Ogubo. Goodbye.